Yeah,
Let's
that's
talk Sean Payton's method of evaluating quarterbacks. This is really interesting. There was a great article on ESPN by Seth Wickersham where he goes through Sean Payton's method. And like, it's the most important position. It's got the most scrutiny of any position. They get paid more than anyone else. You'd think that a multi-billion dollar organization like the NFL would have good quarterback scouting, but it doesn't. No one knows really what to freaking look for in these guys. So Sean Payton has come up with his own method. And instead of looking at really the guy's best plays, what they can do, what their physical attributes are, it's all about the negative plays. Yeah. How often a quarterback makes a negative play. And he defines negative plays as interceptions, fumbles, and sacks, all weighted equally. And he takes your number of dropbacks and he takes your numbers of your negative plays, those three things, and just what's your percentage?
Yep. And then adds the percentage, and that's your score.
And what he's looking for is how quickly and how accurately do you process, not how safe for you. But the idea is if you really are reacting quickly and know what you're seeing, you shouldn't have a ton of negative plays.
And the funny thing is, so seeing this, naturally, I went and started digging in some of these Sean Payton scores. And there was like interesting things coming out around the draft that like Sean Payton didn't have any interest in Caleb Williams, like at all. Even if he was available, Sean Payton was like, Bo Nix would still have been my guy probably. And it is interesting because the Sean Payton score for Caleb Williams was, in the article, they say it was like 17.5. So in my opinion, if you're Sean Payton, my guess is he looked at him as undraftable. Like, there's no way in hell I am grabbing this quarterback. And then,
because it's sort of the antithesis, right? Like Caleb Williams has a lot of good plays that he makes, right? His highlight reel is super fun to watch, but there's also a lot of bad plays.
Yeah, there's a lot of negative
sacks he creates on his own.
I mean, dude, 17.5 means damn near 20% of the time, 17% of the time. So once every 5-6 plays, Caleb Williams is getting sacked, throwing a pick, or fumbling the football. That's insane.
You can't win like that.
Yeah. And
again, the idea is wins aren't a quarterback stat. It's a team game. But losses, quarterbacks can single-handedly lose a game.
Yeah.
We saw it in the playoffs like 3 or 4 times this year.
And I think Kyle and Sean Payton both think of quarterbacks very similarly, because my side project was, okay, what's Brock's Sean Payton score? What was Trey Lance's Sean Payton score? What was Mac Jones's Sean Payton score? And obviously none of them were as good as Bo Nix's. Actually, no. Mac Jones' Sean Payton score for his career in college was better than Bo Nix's career Sean Payton score in college. Sean Payton, if you read the article, only looked at his 2 years at Oregon. That's why his score is like a 2.3 or something. It's something absurd. But even with Brock Purdy had, because Sean Payton's big thing, like his claim to fame, besides Drew Brees, obviously, is he was one of the few that wanted, Patrick Mahomes. You know who has a very similar Sean Payton score to Patrick Mahomes, right?
Who?
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy. Yep.
So out in Sean Payton's book of quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and Brock Purdy would have been hand in hand on his draft board.
Again, he looks at this as like proof of processing. So this is last year's leaders in the NFL by Sean Payton's metrics. And number 1 was Josh Allen, the MVP. I think what's so interesting about Josh Allen for the last few years, not only is he a big playmaker who can, throw an 80-yard bomb or run for 80 yards, but he really protects the football better than anyone else. And he doesn't take a lot of sacks. What a great player. What a great, he might be the best quarterback he might be better than Patrick Mahomes. I mean, nothing against Patrick Mahomes, great player, but I feel like he gets the Andy Reid bounce. Every quarterback's better with Andy Reid. What if Josh Allen was Andy Reid's quarterback?
Patrick Mahomes has been legitimately average the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He has not been that good. He is not even right now. He's not even like currently. I don't even think he's a top 3 quarterback.
He's been good in the clutch though. And he's been a big reason they've won so many games. It's not just
in the clutch. All right. He got booty blasted in the Super Bowl.
Brock Purdy in the clutch. I mean, who can be that?
I mean,
really high on this list. Bo Nix consistently high on this list. Lamar.
Jordan Love's the one that confuses me how he's high on this list.
Brock Purdy
Jordan
was
Love
pretty
threw a
mid
lot of
last year.
picks.
He was right, but so was Burrow. That's kind of interesting.
Like, didn't Jordan Love just throw a ton of picks last year? Am I
You know
crazy?
who's ahead of Brock on this list? Mac Jones. Last year. Mac Jones on the Jaguars had fewer negative plays than Brock Purdy on the 49ers last year. What's that about?
Mac Jones?
Mac Jones, 8.3. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
I'm telling you, man, Mac Jones may not be as good as Brock because Brock is so mobile and Mac is so not. But in terms of processing, man, I've been super impressed with Mac. I think he processes very quickly, and I think his arm is good. Not like Justin Herbert, but I think it's good. I think he's a good player, man. At minimum, they have a backup that they can win with.
Yeah, I mean,
because my question with him is like, is he going to get sacked a bunch of times during real games because he's slow? But it seems like the answer is no, not in college, not in Jacksonville, not in New England. Like he processes quickly and gets the ball out of his hands, as opposed to Purdy, who last year started holding the ball a little bit longer.
That's why I like what they did with the lowlights.
Yeah,
To Brock Purdy, like showing him his lowlights and be like, dude, you gotta stop. Like,
yep.
But you know what's funny is the quarterback Sean Payton hated. Look how far down on the list he is.
Caleb. Oh my goodness.
Russell.
Look at these guys.
Russell Wilson.
Will Levis, goodbye. Deshaun Watson, my goodness. Gardner Minshew, awful. Drake May, overhyped. Jameis Winston. Caleb Williams, interesting. Jalen Hurts. See, that's interesting. And it's not picks with Jalen Hurts. It's fumbles and sacks.
Yeah.
And I think what you could say is Jalen Hurts does do a lot, and he is very important to them, but he doesn't really process that fast.
Jalen Hurts is not. He would. I don't understand this love for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts would not be a starter on most NFL teams
because he played great in 2 Super Bowls. You got to give him credit for that.
He did. He played great.
He's great.
Him and his team played phenomenal in those 2 Super Bowls.
But I don't think Sean Payton would want him.
No,
I don't think he'd want him at all.
I don't think 25 out of 32 NFL.
I think he thinks Bo Nix is better than Jalen Hurts right now.
I would agree.
I do think he would want Brock Purdy.
I do agree with that as well. I think he'd
keep going up this
Actually,
list.
he's talked about Sean Payton's talked about Brock Purdy and gushes over Brock Purdy. He thinks Brock Purdy's great.
Stroud and Geno were high on this list last year. Maybe the offensive line had something to do with it, but still, it's not like.
Oh yeah, and that's
Brock
an important thing that people need to remember in this Sean Payton method. So he purposefully does not consider how bad your offensive line is,
right?
Because he said in his words that it is more impressive if you have one of these scores lower with the bad offensive line. Because again, that means you're not taking negative plays.
And it's like you're deciphering the defense pre-snap. Yeah. You're making adjustments pre-snap. You're just processing super fast.
You know, the biggest
That's what Drew Brees did. That's what Peyton Manning did.
The biggest shocker for me is how high Trevor Lawrence is, honestly.
Yeah.
Like he's the biggest surprise out of anyone on this list because
the Jaguars could be a lot like the Jets where like quarterbacks just suck there. And then Mac Jones leaves and it's like, oh no, he's actually pretty good. Trevor Lawrence eventually leaves. It's like, oh no, he was the first pick in the draft for a reason. You put Trevor Lawrence on the Rams, I bet he'd look great.
Yeah, Sam Darnold still sucks.
Isn't that interesting? Sam Darnold in that great season where he put up all those great numbers was still a negative play waiting to happen, even in his best moment.
And
that's so interesting. And that's why he's bounced around. And that's why people don't take the Seahawks seriously.
I mean, yeah, I don't.
Even Baker.
Yeah, I mean, Baker is like Baker reminds me of like an old school gunslinger, like a Brett Favre, but he obviously I'm not saying he has Brett Favre.
Yeah, I agree. But like, even Jaden Daniels, I thought Jaden Daniels was super safe last year. Guess not.
If you notice, like with him and Jalen and a few other mobile quarterbacks, they're pretty low because you have to remember if they're running around or they take like an option per se, and their option they get tackled behind the line of scrimmage, that is technically a sack.
Yep.
So
that's interesting. That's interesting.
And I think that's also why Jalen Hurts is lower is because technically he was sacked more often than, a quarterback like, Lamar does options, but not as frequently as quarterback like Jaden or Jalen.
I want to look at a couple more people. Tua, high. Up right there with Mac Jones, a couple Alabama products, and then Stafford and Kyler. I still maintain that Kyler is essentially a good quarterback, and Arizona might be the worst organization in football. They've been improving slowly. So I
love
I still
Kyler.
think the Cardinals are a team the Niners have to contend with. They lost to the Cardinals twice last year, and the Cardinals really improved their defense this year. I don't know. We'll see if Kyler can ever put it together. But I think there's signs that he could be one of these guys who really improves once he leaves that freaking organization.
My issue with Kyler Murray, and I've noticed this his rookie year because I was a huge fan of all the Oklahoma guys that came out under Lincoln Riley. Kyler's issue, even going back to Cliff Kingsbury, because we just saw it with Cliff Kingsbury, and that's what I was waiting for. I was like, the second half of seasons, Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray were the fall-off kings.
Yep.
Cliff Kingsbury did not fall off last season
with
Jayden Daniels. Sure, could he have gone to Lincoln Riley and fixed those issues? Yes. Kyler has not fixed the issue, though.
He hasn't.
He'll come out of the gate balling. He'll light people up like, oh, yeah, Kyler Murray's back. And then he kind of just peters off.
Okay, one more guy. Jordan Love being this high. I think everyone thought he had a real down year last year, but I mean, there aren't that many quarterbacks who've thrown more touchdown passes over the last 2 seasons than him. 5 or 6 have. And for him to be this low he doesn't take sacks. That's the deal. He threw a few too many picks last year, but he doesn't take sacks. He might be a guy who's got a bright future, Jordan. And he's on my dynasty team, so I'm hoping.
I don't like Jordan Love. I think he throws the ball away way too often. Like that's why because if you look at his completion percentage, because that's not included in the score, but that is something he looks at. His completion percentage last year was 63%. Now, if this was 2005, that would be great.
Right.
Right now, that is not great, especially with.
So he's playing it safe. He's not necessarily processing super quickly.
Yeah, he instead of the sacks,
and that's what Derek Carr was high on the list too, but he throws the ball away.
Yeah, and again, I would rather you throw the ball away than take a sack for sure. But with Jordan Love, my kind of hesitation with him is I've never really thought he was that good of a processor. He has a lot of. He reminds me of Brett Favre. Like if I had to compare him, like everyone compares him to Aaron Rodgers. My opinion, he's Brett Favre. He loves throwing it into coverage. He loves just letting it rip. And yeah, he's a volume. He's like the Bradley Beal of the NFL. He's a volume shooter.
All day, every day. Kim says Kyler kicked Brock in the Niners' ass.
We suck against mobile quarterbacks, so yeah, that's not surprising.
Yeah, I blame Nick Bosa. Trade him and go in. We got you already. All right, we got one more.